Minnesotans deserve time to care for themselves and their families. That's why Minnesota Democrats are fighting for all working people to have paid family and medical leave. Learn more about how Democrats are standing up for working families and small businesses at paidleavemn.org. That's paidleavemn.org. Paid for by Minnesota AFL-CIO.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
If you've got vinyl in good condition and don't want it anymore, the Electric Fetus is the place to bring it. Get cash for your good quality used vinyl or get 50% more if you choose store credit. Electric Fetus is open 10 to 6 Tuesday through Saturday and 11 to 6 on Sunday. They're closed on Monday. Find the Electric Fetus at 2000 4th Avenue South in Minneapolis and online at electricfetus.com. That's electricfetus.com.
Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. This is Robert Pilot of Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. I'm here to ask you for your support. Finding honest Native-centered news is not easy, but with your support, we're able to provide accurate information about Standing Rock, Line 3, treaty violations, and COVID-19 in our Native communities. Please visit Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon and donate if you can. That's Native Roots Radio Network on Patreon. Pinigigi, and thank you for your support.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Cloudy tonight with a low of 28, then snow expected Saturday with a high around 32. Latunji's Palette is a social enterprise business built with purpose and fortified with love. Discover the best peach cobbler in the world at Latunji's Palette, 1400 Park Avenue South in Minneapolis. Visit the website at latunjispalette.com.
Portions of Native Roots Radio may be pre-recorded.
It's a good day to be indigenous.
Get up, stand up.
They are going to become more brutal.
Couldn't cut, any cut again.
Because all the hippies were trying to be Indians anyway.
They're going to become more repressive because it's a matter of dollars and their illusionary concepts of power.
Hey, Victor.
We must live in balance with the earth.
And also with recent happenings at Wounded Knee.
I am awake.
Welcome to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Wakanja Hade. Hey, live from Macho Hodos Studios, Wendy, the place where you take blue clay from here in Minnesota and Minneapolis and Twin Cities. Hey, Cudahy to all my friends and relatives in four directions. You are listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and I'm your host, Robert Pilot, and we discuss local and national Native news and events. And as you know, Wendy, Native issues are human issues, and human issues are Native issues.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Clinic on Franklin Avenue in Minneapolis, honoring health and tradition.
Hey, we've had a heck of a week shows here. It's been a jamming week as always, and we're winding it down here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, who comes in with always some great reports. And also we're going to have Fun Fact Friday with you, Wendy. But we want to start here with the news that you don't hear anywhere else. So let's get going here with Ogama with the news. Oh, wow.
Hey, bonjour, everybody. This is Ogama Ganuakwe, and I am a member of the Red Lake Nation in northern Minnesota. And I have some news and information for you here on Native Roots Radio. Can you hear me better now? All right. I hope that's the case because that was not initially at a volume where it needed to be. The first thing that I wanted to talk about for news today is kind of local here to Minnesota. In the Duluth area, both the Duluth News Tribune and the Brainerd Dispatch reports that human remains, which have been determined to be indigenous, have been found during the construction of the Twin Ports interchange, which has now paused work in one area of the project. On February 14th, there was a report of a possible human bone in a construction area of the Lincoln Park neighborhood, where Highway 53, also known as the Twin Ports interchange between Duluth and Twin Ports, is being rebuilt. And the Duluth Police Department responded. There was also an archaeologist that was on scene when the officers arrived and stated that the bone is a partial jaw bone. And the medical examiner's office was also consulted, as well as the Fond du Lac band, who was advised to collect the bone. Officials at the Minnesota Department of Transportation and other agencies were intentionally vague about what was found, initially stating that there was state and federal laws that needed to be followed. Initially, they just said that culturally sensitive material has been found from a MnDOT-related project. This so far on the Interstate 35, US Highway 53, and Interstate 535 interchange is so far the only thing that's been found. And they believe that nothing was found during the highway's original construction dating back in the 1960s and 70s, at least according to Minnesota agencies. To their knowledge, they don't believe that anything was found at that time. This discovery has triggered what they call an unanticipated discovery plan, which was developed apparently ahead of construction through consultation with Ojibwe and Dakota nations. They don't list who those nations were or what the consultation plan looked like, but under the plan, work in the area where the finding is stopped to avoid any additional possible burial disturbances. And then there's also bolstered security, as well as other agencies and tribal nations informed. So as of right now, they don't know if that discovery is going to change the project timeline or the design of the Twin Ports interchange project, or how it's going to impact the schedule, just for now that it has been paused in that area. In other areas, construction is still going. Right now, they have determined this human remains that were found to not be a crime scene. And they believe that it is the remains of either a settler or an American Indian. And at some point, they have confirmed that the burial is somebody who is indigenous or an American Indian. And archaeological work is being done to see if there are other burial sites or artifacts nearby. So this is really, I think, something that I don't know that people talk about enough. You know, how many burial grounds of how many nations have been disturbed, desecrated, moved, those types of things, just simply to make room for a highway or some other project, not just here in Minnesota, but throughout the nation. The Brainerd Dispatch article cites an event that happened in 2018, saying that there were several empty, lidless wooden coffins and possible human bones that were found along Arlington Avenue during an archaeological exploration in St. Louis County road project in the area. So this is not the first time that that's happened. There's also been some remnants that have been left behind from a grave relocation project near Greenwood Cemetery down in St. Louis County as well, or up in St. Louis County rather. Where about 5,000 people were buried and had to be relocated. So both indigenous and non-indigenous burial movement to make room for highways and byways and all of those things. And, you know, I just wonder how many of those things have been desecrated over time. So interesting. And, you know, our prayers are up for that relative whose remains were found, and hoping that they can get peace in this situation.
You know what really interested me about that story is that I remember they were trying to do a splash park in Mounds
Yes.
Park here in St. Paul.
Mhm.
I don't know if you remember that, but what was crazy is that at one time there were hundreds of mounds there, not just 3, and so that's why the whole area over there is very sacred, even though they wanted to put a splash park there. So we deal with this desecration of our burial grounds all the time. So that's a really interesting piece you just read.
Yeah, well, and Mounds Park has officially been, labeled for what it is, which is a cemetery. Our dead are buried there, and that's not a place where you put a splash pad, or you go to enjoy a nice summer meal out on the grass. I mean, maybe some people do, but I don't know of anybody that packs their family up and goes to a splash pad at a graveyard. And having that respect for Indigenous people, and I'm glad that the state of Minnesota is taking those precautions to do some of this work in this case. But yeah, it's been a longstanding problem for Native people everywhere, and Native people who have been returned to the earth. Speaking of Native people who have been returned to the earth, Nicole Mann is returning from space, returning back to Earth, which is so exciting. Nicole Mann is the first Native American woman in space, and she spent 6 months aboard the International Space Station, which was flown by NASA, and it's time for her and the SpaceX Crew 5 to return to Earth. They will be returning to the Earth on Saturday, tomorrow. They think it'll be about a 9-hour journey from the orbiting laboratory for her and NASA astronaut John Cassada, as well as Koichi Wakata and Roscosmos cosmonaut Anna Kikina. So very diverse crew that's been there. They did arrive back at that space station on March 3rd, and the 11 crew members have been in orbit for the last week. The 11 crew members they went to train. So exciting to see that Nicole Mann's going to be splashing down, as they call it, off of the coast of Florida and the Gulf of Mexico, or the Atlantic Ocean. Those are the targeted landing zones. There's one of 7 in that area, and they're set to splash down at 9:19 p.m. Eastern time on Saturday. So make sure you're watching NASA's pages to watch the first Native American woman in space return home.
Yeah, awesome. Hey, Pinigigi Ogama for the news. Reminds me, Wendy, we have to spring forward, or is it fall back? No, it's spring forward. We're gonna lose an hour here, so
that's okay. It's going to be lighter out now.
Will I be older or younger?
You're going to be an hour older.
Whoa. Okay, that stinks. Hey, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake. Up next, State Senator Mary Kunesh.
Stay with us.
Oh.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
No one should have to choose between a paycheck and their health. Whether it's for a new baby, an unexpected illness, or an aging parent, Minnesotans deserve time to care for themselves and their families. That's why Minnesota Democrats are fighting for all working people to have paid family and medical leave. Learn more about how Democrats are standing up for working families and small businesses at paidleavemn.org. That's paidleavemn.org. Paid for by Minnesota AFL-CIO.
We are your relatives.
We are your relations.
Brothers,
sisters,
sons,
daughters.
And some of us are your grandchildren.
We are your community. Historically, we held places of honor and respect. Because of the impact of colonization, some of us are rejected, thrown out from family, friends, and community, set up as targets for sexual violence, sex trafficked, humiliated, tortured, and murdered. Everybody has the right to be safe. We are your relatives. Remember,
homophobia is not traditional.
Sponsored by the Minnesota Indian Women's Sexual Assault Coalition.
Boost your immunity and help protect your community. COVID-19 is still here, but it's not too late to get your booster. Staying up to date with vaccines can help build protection that has decreased since your last shot and provide better protection against newer variants. Boosters are an important part of protecting yourself from getting seriously ill from COVID-19. To learn more and schedule your appointment, visit ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine. ramseycounty.us/COVID vaccine.
You're listening to Native Roots Radio. This is Spirit from Reservation Dogs. Get up and listen.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by MN350, a grassroots organization fighting for climate justice.
Speaking of justice and other things, we have State Senator Mary Kunesh on, and we're really excited. Mary, I saw you at the Capitol yesterday, and it was a very celebratory action in the House of Representatives house, and I saw you. I don't want to say lurking around, but you were definitely there for a purpose, and it was great to see you. And there's so much stuff going on, and Wendy and I were talking that we should probably try and get you on a day early if that ever works in your schedule, because one of the things that we do is we play the best of on all the other 11 stations across the country. And you don't make the best of because we do that Thursday night. And we really were talking about, wow, we got to ask Mary if she has the capacity to do a different day, because your reports have been so inspiring and awesome. But anyways, I'm talking too much. Welcome, State Senator Mary Kunesh.
Well, hello, everybody. Yes, this is Mary Kunesh, State Senator in Minnesota, and happy to be here with you this evening.
Thank you so much. Give us an update. A lot of great things happening at the Capitol, and a lot of bills being seen, and a lot of things happening.
Yes, lots of good things happening. When you saw me lurking in the Minnesota House of Representatives, I was there to witness our House members, specifically Heather Keeler, who is the author of the Minnesota Indian Family Preservation Act, the improvements that we are put in place in Minnesota. She was moving her bill off of the House floor, and along with Jamie Becker-Finn and Alicia Koslowski, are three Native women who serve in the Minnesota House of Representatives. It was a team effort over there. They passed it off the Minnesota House. I had passed it off the Senate floor maybe a week or so ago. So now that bill is ready to go to the governor and ensure that we have those protections in place just in case ICWA should happen to go away at the federal level. And that was something that was really important to us to get that done as soon as we could within the legislature, just because we didn't know when the decision was going to come down at that federal level. So that's why I went over to the House. I snuck out of one of my committees and then had to run back over to vote on a bill. But I'm very proud of those three women and the work that they've done in the House. It's good to have partners in both of the bodies. But what else have we been doing? We haven't passed any big bills off the House in the Minnesota Senate, but I did have the final hearing on the opportunity to put on the ballot next year, 2024, the Minnesota general election ballot, the question about the Equal Rights Amendment. And it's really important that we also get that passed as soon as we can, so that we have the ability to educate the people here in Minnesota around that ballot. Because what we want to do is take the question of equality to the people of Minnesota. And so they would have to vote yes or no on the ballot. And the language of the bill, of the Equal Rights Amendment, has evolved a little bit. And the bill that I'm carrying, the ERA bill that I'm carrying, states equality under the law shall not be abridged or denied by this state or any of its cities, its counties, or other political subdivisions on account of race, color, creed, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, age, disability, ancestry, or national origin. It's a lot more expansive than the statement that women have been fighting for over 100 years, 140 years. But we wanted to make sure it's really inclusive. So I've taken it through the process in the Minnesota Senate. I've had some pushback from our Republicans, wondering why we aren't using the word religion rather and using the word creed. And for me, my explanation is creed is much more encompassing. It's broader and more inclusive than just the word religion, because not everybody looks at their spiritual nature as a religion. And they found fault with that. Gender and gender identity, they weren't quite sure about that. But hopefully that the time we get it passed and onto the floor of the Senate, we'll be able to help them understand the definitions and the viewpoints of those words within the context of the ERA. So that was one of the big things that I got done this week. I did sign my 100th bill as an author this week.
Wow.
Which is, yeah. I mean, I know when we got to 30, I was telling my assistant, like, we really need to slow down here. I'm not gonna be able to handle all of these bills. And then it got to climb to 50, and I'm like, really, let's put the brakes on. He's like, yeah, well, this is a lot of work. And then, after that, it was like, you know what, 50, 71, 83, what's the difference? So we have a lot of help at the legislature to ensure that I'm well briefed and understand the bills, and that when we are hearing them in committees, that we have expert testifiers there. So that is making it a lot easier, and just doing a lot of good work in the legislature at the Minnesota in the Minnesota legislature. So yeah, busy week.
Well, I just want to back up a second too. And one of the things that really struck me when I was down in the Capitol yesterday, besides taking talk or pointing you out and seeing you, which was awesome, was that our allies, like our own Dave Pinto here, spoke very well with the bill, with Representative Keeler's bill, and that really excites me. And our white allies are there, and then the bill was unanimous. So there was good talk about it, good positive talk about how this affects our children, and how we need to, just the things that were said was just really educational. It was always fun. Wendy was down there too for something else, and we were just saying yesterday how fun it is just to go down there and see you guys in action.
Yeah, I mean, anybody can come down into our state capitol and watch the different committee hearings. You can go online and just like Google Minnesota Senate committee hearings, and you'll see a schedule of all the different committees and the bills that will be being heard on that day or that week. And it's a fascinating place to hang out. We've had a lot of kids come through, which is absolutely wonderful. I know as the chair of education finance, with the responsibility of the second largest budget in the state, I made it very clear in the very beginning of the session that we wanted to make sure that the voice of our students and the viewpoint of our students and teachers were going to guide us in the work that we're doing. And so I think they got that message, and we've had more and more kids. Oh, I know. The other one is we had a group of students come in with to testify on ensuring that they can wear or have sacred tobacco in their pouches around their necks in school, because tobacco is not allowed on the grounds of schools. But when I explained to, the legislators, both Dems and Republican, the significance of it, and then really I had a little pouch with some tobacco in it, and they understood that this is not a big deal. It's a big deal to us and our kids, but in the general picture of the day, it's not consumable tobacco. And so we had the full support in that committee for that. So it really was the voices of those students that I think moved the legislators to understand it so well.
Well, and it's great to have you there and explain things because there's people that, one of the representatives I heard, which was really interesting, what he said was, every day I learned something. So to stay teachable and learning is a great attribute for a lot of our representatives in this state. And that was exciting to hear that, Mary, that people are listening and people are, listening about what we need and what we do and who we are and are learning. And, you talking about the eagle feather and the tobacco, it's just, graduation with the beaded, hats and things like that just are really, really important. Can you stay with us another segment?
You bet.
All right, awesome. Hey, we're listening, and I'm listening to Native Roots Radio Presents I'm Awake, and we'll be right back with State Senator Mary Kunesh.
Stay with us.
No one should have to choose between a paycheck and their health. Whether it's for a new baby, an unexpected illness, or an aging parent, Minnesotans deserve time to care for themselves and their families. That's why Minnesota Democrats are fighting for all working people to have paid family and medical leave. Learn more about how Democrats are standing up for working families and small businesses at paidleavemn.org. That's paidleavemn.org. Paid for by Minnesota AFL-CIO.
Hey, Twin Cities, Latunji with Latunji's Palette Bakery and Cafe, located at 1400 Park Avenue South in the Elliott Park community. We invite you to discover the best peach cobbler, coffee, soups, salads, and sandwiches in the Twin Cities. And also, you can find my delectable treats at North Market Grocery Store, Annex Farmers Market, Plant-Based Pop-Up, Bobby and Steve's, Handsome Hog, and our website, latunjispalette.com. That's latunjispalette.com.
Hi, Minneapolis. This is Randy Rhodes. Listen to me. Weeknights, 10 to midnight, AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
If you've got vinyl in good condition and don't want it anymore, the Electric Fetus is the place to bring it. Get cash for your good quality used vinyl or get 50% more if you choose store credit. Electric Fetus is open 10 to 6 Tuesday through Saturday and 11 to 6 on Sunday. They're closed on Monday. Find the Electric Fetus at 2000 4th Avenue South in Minneapolis and online at electricfetus.com. That's electricfetus.com. Hey, it's Patrick. It's March, and believe it or not, it's almost time for spring cleaning. You're not the only one who's tired of winter this year because your carpets and air ducts are too. Think about the dust, dander, and bacteria living and breeding in your carpet, upholstery, air ducts, and more with nowhere to go. There's only one real way to get rid of that gunk in your home, and that's by calling our cleaning heroes at Zero Res. With Zero Res's platinum-rated cleaning systems and patented ZR water, they will extract all that nasty out of your home, and it will look and smell like a home should. And with the Zero Res Gotta Love It guarantee, you know they will take care of you. This month, get 3 rooms Zero Resified from the Twin Cities' #1 carpet cleaner starting at $129. And take $75 off your air duct cleaning as well to get that true spring cleaning feel. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com right now and say you want the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
We're facing into some of the greatest challenges the world has faced in decades. How do we address this great transformation in how we deal with land, how we engage with people, how we produce enough food but produce it just and regeneratively? And how do we do that at a time of social, economic, and climatic emergency?
Attend the Regenerative Agriculture and Food Systems Summit in Chicago on March 28th and 29th. This summit brings together farmers, food and beverage brands, and stakeholders with one unified mission: to accelerate the transition to regenerative agriculture. Together, we can build a more abundant and resilient food system for generations to come. For more information, go to Regenerative Agriculture Summit USA. Enter the code FoodFreedom10 for a 10% discount. That's 10% off with Food Freedom 10.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Patrick Lilia. Cloudy tonight with a low of 28, then snow expected Saturday with a high around 32. Latunji's Palette is a social enterprise business built with purpose and fortified with love. Discover the best peach cobbler in the world at Latunji's Palette, 1400 Park Avenue South in Minneapolis. Visit the website at latunjispalette.com.
This is Winona LaDuke of Honor the Earth, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio. I'm Awake.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake, and this is Robert Pilot.
This portion of the show is supported by the Native American Community Development Institute in Minneapolis.
Yes, they are. Thank you, Wendy. Hey, we're here with State Senator Mary Kunesh, Wendy, and I know you have a question.
I have a question, Senator Kunesh. I was at the state capitol yesterday, and I was in the audience hearing a bill that was being presented, and I was there in support of the bill. But there was some opposition about the bill, and the bill was tabled. What does tabled mean? Do you know? Oh, I think you're muted.
Yep, there I was. When a bill is tabled, it's like they're laying it on the table, which means we're just going to put it aside for right now. We're not going to move it on to the next committee or to the next hearing. They might not have finished the conversation or the debate yet, or there might be issues with the bill that they want to address, and then they'll come back and they'll vote to take it off of the table and then readdress the bill. So it probably needs some more debate, or it might need some fixes or some amendments before it moves on to the next committee.
I see. You know, it's really amazing and astonishing about how really complicated it is to, write a bill, get a bill heard, even get a hearing. And for the whole process, it's really daunting in my eyes. I don't know if it's daunting in your eyes, since you've been doing this for so long.
And she's done 100 bills.
It's amazing. It is so astonishing. So now I'm going to be back at the Capitol next week on Tuesday and Wednesday. This was a Senate hearing I was at for this particular bill. The bill is going to be heard again on Wednesday in the House.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So does that mean that it's off the table now?
No, a bill has to be present in both the House and the Senate, in both bodies of the legislature. So when I author a bill, I need to find an author over in the House. And it has to go through the series of committees as well. So if the bill is a policy only bill, to say that we will outlaw hunting wolves forever, amen. That's a policy bill. But if it's we will outlaw wolves, but let's see, how should we, I know, like if it's like wolves cause the death of farm animals, so we won't outlaw wolves, the shooting of wolves, but we will compensate farmers for their lost stock when a wolf kills them. So that's policy and finance, because there's a policy and money connected. So then some of them have to go to policy bills, some of them have to go to finance bills or hearings. it is complicated, and I still don't know a lot of it. But fortunately, we have a lot of folks that help us with that process.
Mhm.
And
I
then
know that.
it has to be heard in the House before a certain deadline. It has to be heard in the Senate before a certain deadline. And then at the end, towards the end of session, we have what we call conference committees, and the House puts all their bills forward, and this within committees puts their bills forward. The Senate does theirs within their committees, and then we have to meld them together. We have to agree on the same bills for the same amount of money, and then we send those to the governor, and the governor pretty much has to agree too. So it's a process, and if at any point the House agrees, the Senate agrees, and the governor agrees, then we would take those bills to the floor of our prospective bodies, hear it on the floor, send it to the governor for signature.
It's very complicated and
Yeah.
it's exciting. And when you said you have people that know, in my work too as a legislator for Ho Chunk Nation, we lean heavily on our lawyers and our aides big time because
Yep.
there's a lot of experts out there that know way more than I do, but also can
Way more.
educate me. Yeah, educate me.
And the
I'm wondering if
numbers.
young Zoe has any questions because she's got that political bloodline going. Zoe, do you have any questions for the state senator or statements?
It's probably something you've talked about before on here, but trying to understand more of what you do at the Capitol, Senator. What does like a normal day look like for you, or like what did yesterday look like for you? Maybe that wasn't as normal of a day, but
Well, yeah, it's hard to say a normal day, but my committee meets at 8:30 in the morning on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. And so I hear education finance bills for 2 hours, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday morning. And then I have meetings in between, and usually have a session where we're on the floor of the Senate, and that starts around 11:30 on the days that we have session, and that can go anywhere from half an hour if there's nothing we're working on the floor to one of the bills took 19 hours to get it passed. And then, so we have session, then I usually go back and have meetings with people that want to talk to me about their bills or about issues in the legislature. And then I have another committee I sit on, education policy. And I also sit on environment, climate, and legacy. That's another one. And then I sit on the ag and climate committee. So on any given day, I could start at 8:30 in the morning and not until easily 5:30. And then we might have caucus, which is where all the senators meet and we talk about what's going on. Or I might have just more meetings going on too. And I have to figure out the bills that I'm presenting for the next day or for the week. So I have to be prepped on that. It's just it's busy. It's go, go, go. But I will tell you, Wednesday was a lovely day. Wednesday was International Women's Day. And so we had some really great things going on at the Capitol around that. But two other things happened. In the middle of the day, my sister, and I think you've met her before, my sister Patrice was confirmed as the commissioner of the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services in the administration for Native Americans. So she's going back to Washington, D.C., and she will be working in the Biden administration on health and human service issues for American Indians at the federal level. I already have a couple of assignments for her. And but she served on the or the Obama administration as well. So she's excited to get back out there for that. And then that evening, I went over to St. Kate's and listened to Louise Erdrich speak about the history of our American Indians, but also of her family and her father, who was the inspiration for her book, The Watchman. And it was just a great day all around, both to have that happen for my sister and then to listen to Louise Erdrich talk about, the importance of our ancestors and how they influence us to this day. And I certainly feel that when I'm doing the work at the legislature and elsewhere.
Well, we've had your sister on quite a few times over the 6 years, and we're really excited. And maybe I can get her to get me a autographed picture of the president or something.
Well deserved. Congratulations.
Yes.
Absolutely, Mary. You
That's
must be
big.
very proud of your sister. Is she your
We
younger
are.
or older sister?
She is a year and a week older than me, so just a little
Oh,
bit
okay.
older.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
You
That's
know,
wonderful.
you know what I was going to
Thank
ask
you.
you, Wendy, or Mary? I was going to ask you. 10 years ago, you were teaching. You were in the school, and would you ever have thunk that you'd be at this position right now, first representative and then state senator of this great state of Minnesota? I mean,
10 years ago, no. I was elected into the Minnesota House 7 years ago. So maybe
Mhm.
8 years ago, I thought I would be able to do it. But no, 10 years ago, just like Wendy, I was very intimidated and daunted by elected officials and what was going on at the Capitol. But I always say, I for 20 years, I was at the elementary level. And when I decided to go to teach in middle school, people are like, "Oh, why do you want to go there? Those middle school kids, they're just trouble, and there's so much work." And I got there, and somebody said, "How's it going?" And I said, "Oh, these middle schoolers are just elementary kids in a bigger body." And get to the Capitol, and people are like, "Well, how is it? What's it? Is it different than teaching?" I'm like, man alive, these legislators are just middle school kids in a bigger body. And that's
Thank
really
you.
and truly the truth of it. I mean, the drama
Yeah.
and the, posturing and for some, the constant need for attention. Look at me, listen to me. Oh my gosh. It's just like, I sometimes I just sit there and like, I feel like I am in a middle school classroom right now.
Yeah. Well, especially when the Republicans were running the Senate and we weren't getting anything done. Now it's just
Yeah.
past all these great things that are happening and things that are important. And
Yeah.
one of the fun things we saw our Representative Pinto a week or so ago, and is that you guys can multitask. People are worried about what we guys are doing, but you can multitask and do many things. And with this opportunity we have is with the trifecta.
Yeah, when you go from 0 to something, it might feel like the wind is blowing in our hair, but 0 to a lot is just a great, great feeling.
Wow. Great way to end the segment. State Senator Mary Kunesh, thank you so much for these great updates and all the work you do for the state of Minnesota. Pinigigi.
It is my pleasure, and I just want to say Wopila Tonka and Chimigwich to all of you who get the information out to the public. I mean, knowledge is power, and we know it.
Right on. Hey, up next, we got Wendy with our Sacred Animal section.
Stay with us.
Oh, you're listening to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
Hey, Ogama, I've been hearing a lot about this term, climate justice. What is that?
Climate justice is recognizing that the negative impacts of climate change don't affect all people equally. It also means transitioning from a fossil fuel-based economy to a more sustainable future. MN350 is one of the groups that's pushing for this transition to protect our futures. You can even get involved too.
That's great, especially since I'm concerned about pipeline projects like Line 3. How can I help MN350?
Just find them on Facebook or visit mn350.org.
The Senior Linkage Line is a free statewide service of the Minnesota Board on Aging in partnership with Trellis. I have volunteered with seniors nearly 15 years, working alongside their compassionate team. I am honored to partner with Trellis as we help our elders find housing, compare costs of Medicare prescriptions, and learn how to avoid fraud and scams targeting seniors. We help our elders optimize well-being as they age, and we can help you too. Reach out today at trellisconnects.org.
J&S Bean Factory is a native-owned, community-supported, cozy, artsy coffee shop which offers roasted on-site beans, live music, and baked goods. Relax in the beautiful outside patio. City Pages writes, voted top 10 coffee shops. Tucked into a quiet corner of St. Paul's Highland Park neighborhood, this coffee shop roasts beans on-site from the best coffee-growing countries in the world. Located at 1518 Randolph Avenue, St. Paul. The good stuff.
Minnesota has the only original wolf population in the continental United States.
And 80% of Minnesotans believe the wolf should be protected.
Howling for Wolves is asking Minnesotans to respect our true wildlife manager, the wolf.
Their survival is critical to our ecosystems, our communities, and even our economy.
As highly intelligent animals with strong social bonds, Minnesota wolves deserve to be protected and admired.
Learn more at howlingforwolves.org. Let's live and let howl.
Bonjour, I am Oshawashko Gijig. I'm from Red Lake Nation, and you're listening to Native Roots Radio.
Welcome back to Native Roots Radio presents I'm Awake.
This portion of the show is supported by Howling for Wolves, protecting wolves for future generations.
That didn't sound like 4 people. Hey, I want to introduce my awesome and beautiful wife, Wendy. Wendy, we've got you out of retirement. It seems like you've been on 3 times this week. Whoa.
It's a fun Friday, so it's fun.
Right on. I appreciate it. Hey, you are our animal advocate, and you've been on the show for almost 7 years. And we've been learning so much from you over the years. And so let's have some fun on Fun Friday.
Yeah. Hi, everybody. My name is Hanaji Hihani, and that means cares for them. I was given that name by my Dega Curtis. Curtis goes by Mashke Hanajinga, which means walks on white clouds. I'm a humane policy volunteer leader for the Humane Society of the United States, and I work on animal issues at the local and state level, and I'm always happy to do that. As I was telling Senator Kunesh, next week I will be back at the state capitol again just to support 2 bills that we're working on. If anybody wants to come down, you could check the schedule and come on down in support of them. So I'm really happy about that. We're going to be hearing the Puppy Mill store humane. And Lucy's here because it's the sacred animal section. Yes, we'll be hearing that, and we'll be hearing another humane bill that I'm excited about. But today's Fun Fact Friday, so we're just going to kind of go with that, Robert. And
Yeah.
I have that list of 300 amazing animal facts, and I'm going from 300 to 1. We're going backwards. And I think that we left off at like 270, but I think we might have heard it. So you'll have to let me know. Sometimes I can't remember if I said it or not, but a male gorilla can eat 40 pounds of food a day.
I felt like I did that yesterday.
No.
I did. But,
Yeah.
but then today I didn't eat much.
Yeah. So starfish don't die of old age. I'm going to look that up and see, because that's all it says. It doesn't give any like exclamation.
To be continued.
To be continued. Starfish
Jesus.
don't die of old age. So if they weren't eaten by another animal or a fish or
They're like me. They're going to
something,
live.
maybe they could live forever. I
was
don't
gonna
know. I'm
say-
going to have to look that up.
I was going to say they're going to be like me and live forever.
Yeah, and starfish, people sometimes find them. They're very unusual animals, and they're important for the sea. So if you find a starfish on the beach, throw them back in the water. Tigers can see 6 times better at night than humans. That's why you don't want to be walking around in the, where there's tigers, because at night, especially, because they could really see you. Do you have any idea, any of you guys, Zoe, Ogama, Robert, a group of frogs, and no Googling, a group of frogs is called what?
A frog group. Frog group. A frog group. Frogrupa.
Is it a ribbit?
That's a good,
Whoa.
a ribbit. That's a good.
Ribbit.
A group of frogs is called an army.
Oh,
I think I did hear that one a long time ago. Now that you say it, it's terrifying to think of.
Yeah, I don't really like that name. They should change that. Both male and female caribou grow antlers. Robert, did you know horses cannot vomit?
Wow.
Again, I'd like to find out what happens to their digestive system, but that's the only fact I have right now. Horses can't vomit. Cheetahs were trained by men for hunting as long as 3000 BC.
What?
Cheetahs
Yeah.
were trained by men for hunting as long as 3000 BC. So I guess
So they had
men
cheetah
train
armies.
cheetahs and put them on leashes and use them for hunting. That's another thing I'll have to look up.
Oh, these fun facts are vague facts.
They're very vague. These are
facts
fun,
on
vague Friday facts.
Jeez.
Crocodiles have brains no larger than a cigar.
Oh,
I think that's it. Yeah, that's not good, because if you have a small brain, I don't think you're very smart.
well, we used to call people pea brains.
Well, I
The size of a
remember
pea.
Chihuahuas have one of the biggest brains of all dogs in comparison to their body size. So they have like the same, even a bigger brain than a Saint Bernard is, as far as their body is concerned.
Huh.
Yeah. The scales of a crocodile are made of keratin, which is the same substance that hooves and fingernails are made of.
Wow.
Oh, here's the one I missed. This explains their small cigar brain. Crocodiles eat stones.
No comment. No comment.
African elephants only have 4 teeth to chew their food with.
That's all they need. They're big ones, I bet.
I bet you they're very big teeth, right?
Yeah.
Goats and octopus, their pupils are rectangular.
Octopi.
Do you remember when we went and we saw the goats at the sanctuary? I actually have the shirt on. Say it.
And they have Little Acorn Sanctuary in Northfield, Minnesota.
Yeah, we went there and we saw they had goats there, and their eyes are rectangular. So it's kind of weird how they look at you like that, because it's not like a regular eyeball. The average dolphin eats 1/3 of its weight of food each day.
Okay, you have to have a calculator if you're a dolphin. Then
I guess so. I don't. I don't know how they figure all this stuff out. Apiphobia
Yeah.
is a fear of bees.
Oh, you should have asked everybody.
Oh, I should. A beaver's teeth never stop growing. I guess, because they're always chewing, so it kind of files them down. There's other animals that teeth keep growing. I think like squirrels and hamsters, their teeth keep growing
Well,
too.
when I got veneers, my teeth grew a little bit there too. It was hard to play the trumpet again.
Dalmatians are completely white at birth, and then their
Oh.
spots come out later on. Yeah.
Oh.
I actually learned that about watching with our godchildren. We watched that Disney movie, 101 Dalmatians.
Right.
I learned that on that show.
Disney's good for something.
There are approximately 450 million goats around the world.
Greatest of all time?
Mm-hmm.
Is that no? Okay.
There is a shark called goblin shark, which has only been seen around 50 times since its discovery in 1897. That's amazing.
That's like UFOs.
But you know what? The ocean is very vast. It's very, very big.
The
So
desert is ocean with its life underground. Oh, that's America. Go ahead.
And
I like that song.
an adult lion's roar is so loud it can be heard up to 5 miles away.
It reminds me of somebody that's mad, that gets mad at me. You can hear the roar 5 miles away.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty loud if you could hear it 5 miles away. A polar bear's outer fur is called guard hair.
You should have had us guess.
Oh, okay. Well, when I come to another one.
Well, we only got a
All
minute.
right, here it is.
We got 50
Surrey,
seconds.
Surrey, S-U-R-I. Surrey phobia is the fear of what? Surrey phobia.
My phone when I asked Siri for directions.
Surrey phobia is the fear of mice.
Oh.
There are over 210 breeds of goats in the world. Frogs don't drink water. They absorb water through their skin.
Hey, we'll be back Monday and look all over everywhere for the best of Native Roots Radio. We're still here. We are the 7th generation.
Free Leonard Peltier.
See you next week. Ho.
Ni